All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. We are excited that we get to do the Robust Retail Citywide Grant Program again in 2023. This started in 2019. It's taken a lot of different shapes and forms as the city has been in different positions, and we understand that retail businesses still need help. It's not just the online traffic. It's now the remnants of the ongoing small business crisis with the pandemic. So we are very thrilled that we've been able to offer this again. It takes a little bit of a different shape this year, but I will get into that in just a second. So we are recording this. We're going to make the transcript and the recording available on our website. We'll send it out to the participants who register for the call, and then we will also put it into our online application system. Feel free to come off mute to ask questions, but if you are not actively speaking, please keep your line on mute. And then any other questions that are not answered in this information session or at a different information session can be emailed to us at dcmainstreets@dc.gov. We are only accepting email questions on this grant opportunity, and we are not going to be accepting any phone calls. All right. So what is this grant and who is it for? It is $105,000 grants that are going to be awarded across the city to retail businesses. You have to meet eligibility, and then you can be entered into the lottery. DSLBD recognizes, and the mayor who put this money into our budget recognizes how important it is to have a vibrant retail sector. And so one of the reasons why this grant opportunity exists is to just help support ongoing retail operations. I'm going to kick it over to Courtney to talk about the businesses and who is eligible for it.
Great, thanks, Virginia Marie. So one of the interesting pieces of Robust Retail is defining what is a retail business. So we took a stab at it. And the list that you see on the screen right now are businesses that we do consider eligible to apply for our Robust Retail grant. They include art galleries, art supply stores, bars and taverns, bookstores, cards, gifts, and party stores, clothing, specialty apparel stores, consignment shops, convenience stores or corner stores, dry cleaners, florists with on-site retail, furniture stores, grocery stores, gyms, yoga, dance, or fitness studios, hair salon and barber shops, restaurants, any sort of winery, brewery, or distillery with a tavern or manufacturer license, hardwood stores, home goods, jewelers, laundromats, liquor stores, nail salons, pet supply stores, pharmacies, printed and signage shops, specialty shops, tuxedo, dress and rental shops, any sort of waxing centers, and wine shops. If you have any specific questions regarding the allowability of your business to apply for this grant, as Virginia Marie mentioned, you can always shoot us an email at dcmainstreets@dc.gov and we can elaborate on that.
Thanks,
and then for businesses
who's not eligible to?
Yep. And so for businesses who are not eligible to apply for Robust Retail are businesses that are franchises and are not independently owned and operated, childcare providers, healthcare and social assistance businesses like physicians, dentists, acupuncture, or chiropractic offices, any sort of nonprofit organizations, online only or e-commerce businesses, so you don't have a physical brick and mortar, professional services companies like accountants, insurance, law offices, and then home-based businesses, because you do have to have a brick and mortar presence in the district to apply for this grant.
And I see that I have a typo in here. One of these lines should be businesses with over 25 full-time employees. So we're looking for businesses that have fewer than 25 full-time employees as part of our eligibility criteria. So that was just a copy and paste error. Right. So how do we apply for this grant? So the first thing to know is that it is a reimbursement grant. So what that means is that you have already expended some funds and the district is going to reimburse you for allowable costs within specific cost categories, and we outline those specifically later. It is awarded via lottery, and then it is open to all DC-based retail businesses. This information session is going to take you way longer than it will take you to actually fill out the application, I promise. And so we are going through it in detail, Courtney and I, but we are really wanting to encourage you to just look at the RFA, start the application process, because it is a pretty straightforward process. All right. To apply, you have to go through the RFA, the request for applications. You can download that through our website, and here's a specific landing page. It's dslbd.dc.gov/robust retail grant. Now, within that application, there is that lists all of the rules and all of the information that you need. There's an online system, and we are requiring that you get to that through the application because folks don't read the application. But it is in section 2 under online application and deadline. So the online system that we use is zoomgrants.com, and we will go through a little bit of a walkthrough of what that looks like at the end of this presentation. All right, Courtney, do you want to take us through good deadlines and important dates?
Sure. So the final submission for your application must be in by April 10th, 2023 at 2 p.m. And there are no exceptions to that. That is a hard deadline for the final submission of the application.
And so we have had folks that, put it in at 2:01, put it in at 2 minutes and 30. We turn off the application, and then it's time stamped, and we do not allow anything that is before 2 p.m. So we do encourage you to get it in early. And the reason we encourage you to get it in early is because we have early eligibility reviews.
So our eligibility reviews are a very, very beneficial tool. This is a pretty easy and painless grant to apply for. There are some intricacies surrounding the documents that we require and eligibility. So this is a fantastic opportunity for you all to have access to our pre-review. And should we need any more documentation or need any sort of forms updated, we will send you that information, and you have the opportunity to update that information and resubmit so that you qualify for the lottery. The first early eligibility review is February 17th, 2023 by 2 p.m. The second deadline for the next run of eligibility review is March 17th, 2023 at 2 p.m. And then the last date to ask a question for the grant is April 5th, 2023 at 2 p.m. After that, we will not be fielding any questions in regards to the grant. And then award notifications will be sent on April 17th, 2023. So just to circle back to the eligibility review, there are 2 rounds. If you submit for the first before February 17th and then resubmit, you can also qualify to have opportunity for the second eligibility review. So the earlier you get it in, the more sets of eyes you have on it, and the better chance you have for getting all of your ducks in a row to be submitted for the lottery.
Thank you, Courtney. And just to reiterate that it is April 10th at 2023 at 2 p.m. Everything is at 2 p.m. We try to keep that consistent and standard across the board. One of the reasons why we put on the award notification deadline, or the date that we're going to be sending out the award notifications, is we have a very tight turnaround to award the grants and get them out the door. We are going to be requiring that folks submit their acceptance of their notice of grant award within 5 days, and then again submitting their receipts. And so you want to make sure that if you apply, that you are on the lookout for this April 17th deadline. Be looking out on your email addresses that you use to register. Okay, so Courtney, I'm going to take active business license, clean hands. If you can take the other ones as we move through it. But here's everything that you need to apply. We are looking for 4 pieces of information that are either filled in or uploaded, and then a list of attestations. And we're going to go through each of these individually and then look at the common pitfalls that folks have when we're looking at eligibility. So the entire application is to be eligible to be included in a lottery, and we'll go through how that lottery works a little bit later. But one of the pieces of eligibility that is absolutely required is that you must have an active DC business license. And we have to be able to search for that business license number in Scout. So we're not asking that you upload a physical copy of the business license, but we are asking that you give us the license number that is listed on your business license. We are going to take that number and we are going to input it into Scout, which is the Department of Licensing and Consumer Protection's database. And so we literally just copy that number, we put it into Scout, and if we cannot find it, then we if we cannot find it in there, then we will mark you ineligible. The license has to be an active status, and the business license name and address must match the information that you submit in Zoom Grants as part of your online application. So that's really important. You're going to hear us talk a little bit about information crossing, being consistent across documents and across pieces of the application. And we really want you to make sure that you are having those pieces of information be consistent throughout, because that does knock people out of eligibility. The name of the business that is in Scout has to be on the application, and the name of the business that is in Scout has to be on the Clean Hands certificate. So the common errors that folks have is sometimes they give us a certificate of occupancy. You know, both are issued by the Department of Licensing and Consumer Protection, formerly known as DCRA, the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs. But we are not looking for the certificate of occupancy number. We are looking for the business license number. You know, sometimes the name doesn't match across. Now, if you have a trade name, you have the opportunity to put that into our application. I think that that's great. We need to be able to verify that the business that is in the application is the one that's licensed. So if there's any kind of ambiguity, feel free to write in, and we can let you know what it is that we're looking for. The business address does not match across documents, and so the business address that is in Scout must be the same business address that you put into your application. The reason for that is sometimes folks have multiple locations and you have to do an individual application per location, and each individual location has to be licensed. So we are looking to make sure that those match, and we can match the business license to the actual application. And then sometimes the number is not searchable in Scout. Whatever you type into the Zoom Grants portal, please just go ahead and type it into Scout. It's at access.dcra.dc.gov, and make sure that it is searchable for you. That is an easy way to make sure that we can find your business license information. All right. So we talked about the active business license. I want to talk about the Clean Hands certificate. So the Clean Hands certificate is available for free at mytaxdc.gov or mytax.dc.gov. And please never ever pay for a Clean Hands certificate. It's something that you get as part of the MyTax portal. And so when we get this Clean Hands certificate, it has to be in compliance status. And so if you have a not in compliance certificate, we are not going to accept that. Clean Hands certificate shows that you are up to date on payments to the district, whether it's taxes, income taxes, unemployment taxes, parking tickets, any number of things. And so in order to be eligible for a grant, you have to have a Clean Hands certificate. Because what happens is if you are awarded a grant, and this has happened during my tenure in DC government, is if you were awarded a grant and you owe the district money, the district will figure it out and dock that amount that is owed from your grant award. And then you're still supposed to meet the grant terms. And so it's really, really important that you have Clean Hands. And we recommend that you check it as soon as possible, because when there are issues with your Clean Hands status, it is taking OTR about 6 weeks to resolve them. So please double check it. We have a very long open grant period. And part of that is because we know that there are difficulties in reconciling some of the accounting that you have versus what OTR has, and we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to get their clean hands compliant certificate and submit it. Another thing is that the last four of the EIN, the employer identification number, needs to match the last four that is on the clean hand certificate, and that the business name that is in Scout is what is on the application is also what is on the clean hand certificate. If folks give us a clean hand certificate and the business name doesn't match, then we are probably going to score that out of eligibility if we cannot determine that we have the clean hands for the business. So common errors. Sometimes folks give us a certificate of good standing. This is something that is issued by an entirely different agency. It is issued by DLCP, and we are looking for the certificate of clean hands from the Office of Tax and Revenue. So it is not the same thing. Sometimes the business name doesn't match across the documents. Sometimes the EIN doesn't match across the company, across documents. Sometimes folks give us their personal clean hands or the clean hands for the owner rather than for the business. We are looking for the business clean hands. And then the clean hand certificate has to be dated January 1 or later. So anytime from January 1 through the end of the application, your clean hand certificate be dated, but we will not accept ones that are older than that. So if you give us something that has any kind of 2022 date on it, we will not accept it. So these are the biggest errors that we have. Again, feel free to write in with questions. That's dcmainstreets@dc.gov. All right. So Courtney, will you take us on to the W-9?
Sure. So this is number 3 of the requirements necessary for the application. We've gone over the active DC business license, the clean hand certificate dated January 1st or later, and now the W-9 on form 2018 or later. So for the application, you'll need to upload your IRS W-9 form. That form is available for free at the website listed. And again, it needs to be form 2018, from year 2018 or later. It must be filled out for the employer identification number. The last 4 of the employee identification number must match the W-9 and what is on the application and clean hand certificate. And the form, again, just to reiterate, must be revised 2018 or later. Now, some common errors that we have seen in the past is uploading a W-9 on a form earlier than 2018. So again, make sure that the form is dated at least 2018, and then not putting the EIN, putting a social security number instead on that form. So what you're going to see is a common theme as application names and EINs need to match across all documents submitted. We want to verify that business is, and one of the major ways that we do that is consistency throughout each document uploaded.
Courtney, I don't have a slide for this. Basically, it's just that you need to have a photo of your storefront. And it can be a cell phone shot. It does not need to be a glamour pic. We are just looking to get a picture of your storefront. And then
but if you do have a glamour pic, you can upload that.
Oh, we would love to see it.
Yeah, we want to see all of your beautiful business. But anything that you have would suffice, like Virginia Marie said. Now, the attestation section, they're pretty simple. You're going to be checking and or initialing a box in Zoom just to say that these statements are in fact true. And those statements include that you were not awarded a 2022 Robust Retail Grant. If you were awarded prior to 2021, you're still allowed to apply. But if you did receive a grant in 2022, you are not able to apply. So again, you're attesting that you are not a 2022 awardee, that your business is in operation, that it is a retail business as defined by this grant, that your applicant is owner or authorized representative, that the business is independently owned and operated and has fewer than 25 full-time employees, that you all have 5,000 qualified reimbursable expenses under the description of this grant, that there is no double dipping, meaning that the government or a government issued grant is not paying for the reimbursed items that you will be submitting for this grant, that you are up to date on reporting for any government grants, and that you can receive electronic funds. And then I did see a question in the chat.
That's a great question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the question was, what if I
have thing that here for the can receive electronic funds, the last thing I should say is that you are fully, I see I put it twice, but you are fully accepting and relating your attestations accurately. These are attestations that say I am certifying that the above statement is true. And so we want to make sure that you are saying that. We asked that a couple of times. I'm going to go back to the slides with the licensing information. And then Courtney, if you could read the question.
Sure. So Elizabeth asked, what can funds be used for? And Elizabeth, we will get to that in this presentation, and they're also all listed in the RFA. I can put a link to the RFA in the chat for you all's records, but we will be touching on that shortly.
Then to clarify on the DBA, the DBA is a doing business as. Sometimes this is also referred to as a trade name. If you have a registered trade name, then that is fine. You can put that into the application. However, what we absolutely must have is the official name, and that official name must be licensed. And so sometimes people give us their organization name, and then they say, if it's, Virginia Marie's Shoe Shop, and it's like Virginia Marie's Shoe Shop doing business as Glitter Heels, then, we can definitely accept that. But we have to be able to make sure that the official business license is, or the official entity is licensed. And sometimes that is the DBA is a separate registration. And then, or sometimes it is, a little bit less formal, but we are going to be looking for the official entity for it to be licensed. Given back, we went to the attestations. All right. And then one thing to note is that multiple locations, businesses with multiple locations are eligible to apply, and they can enter the lottery as many times as they have a licensed location. However, we do want to spread the wealth. We have a bit of a smaller grant pool than we've had in the past, and so one of the things that we're going to do is only one location will be awarded if multiple happen to be selected in the randomly generated number lottery. All right, so eligible costs. The eligible costs are that we are going to explicitly allow for reimbursement are going to be employee wages and salaries. This can also be the proprietor's salary if they take a payroll distribution, insurance, rent, utilities, inventory, cleaning supplies, new delivery or online costs, taxes, and debt service. We are pretty broad in what we are allowing to be reimbursed for this grant. And the biggest thing is that you have to have $5,000, and the expenses have to have occurred between October 1st and April 10th, which is when the grant round ends. And so if you're awarded, you will have to give us $5,000 worth of those expenses. This is one of the things that we are being super, super strict on this year. In the past, there's been some wiggle room, so please do not think that last year is the same as this year. We are going to be very strict. You have to accept the grant award, so be looking for your email. You will get a notification that your application has been submitted. You'll get a notification that whether you are awarded. You will get a notification of whether you are eligible and not awarded. This is a lottery. And so just because you are eligible does not mean that you will be awarded a grant. Last year, we had twice as many folks that were eligible as were awarded a grant. And so it was strictly dependent on our grant funds. We have these 100 grants that we're going to split across the city. We're going to have 8 in each ward at the very least. And then, so there'll be 64 grants across all 8 wards. The remaining 36 will be entered into a citywide lottery. Everyone gets a chance to be a part of that citywide lottery, and we're going to use a random number generator, and whoever comes up first in those random number generators will be the ones that are awarded. DSLBD has the discretion to make determinations of the final awards, and so that is how we are making sure that we are not awarding more than one location per business owner. All right. So again, the email for questions is dcmainstreets@dc.gov. And then I wanted to go over Zoom grants, but before I move to Zoom grants, are there any questions that the presentation hasn't covered so far? I log back in here. So this is Zoom grants. This is the link that you're going to get to in the request for applications. And this is what it looks like. So you might have to log in. You might have to click into, the grant opportunity. Here are the links to the RFA, to the request for applications. We are going to put it into the document library. We're going to put this recording into the document library. And then if you have more questions, we're going to have some more information sessions lined up, or question and answer sessions lined up. And so what I really want to note is you need to have your business contact information name. So right now I'm doing a Zoom grants test as if that was my, actually this should be Virginia Marie, sorry. This should be Virginia Marie, be Rory. And did you see that saving? That just means that Zoom grants is saving as you go. There is no save button. However, every so often Zoom grants does get stuck, so you might need to reload the page. So like I said, I am Virginia Marie Shoe Business, but my business actual name is going to be Glitter Heels. And so I will have that reflected. And when I look into Scout and I see that there's a business license for Glitter Heels, or a trade license, I'm sorry, a trade name for Glitter Heels, I can relate it back to my business. A little bit smaller, you can put your telephone number. The business legal entity name, this is the one that we want to be, we want it to be what is licensed. And then you click here to add your address. And when you add your address, it's going to do an address verification. I'm going to see if it'll let me go through without adding my address right now. Telephone, tax ID. This is going to be your EIN. So 8 or 9, I can't see right now. And then the business owner name. So if you're filling out this application and you are not the business owner, we absolutely need to have the business owner's name right here. And so I am the business owner name, so I will be just putting Virginia Marie again. But like, let's say Courtney was filling this out for me, she would still be putting this name in for me. And then one thing to note is that you can add in collaborators. So collaborators are not able to submit the application for you, but they are able to work on the application. That being said, the application, and then, so they only allow you to do one right here, but you can add in additional email addresses down here. That being said, it's a very easy and short application. So I go ahead and I click next. Here's where you would put your business license number. Make sure you can look it up on the DLCP website, your EIN. Make sure this EIN matches the same EIN that is in your original organization information, and on your EIN and on your clean hands document. The EIN is super important to get consistent across all of the documents. And then we have a couple of questions of, have you uploaded the documents that you need to upload? So the documents that you need to upload, you actually have to download them up, or you have to upload them down here. And you just click on upload, and then you'd be able to attach them to your record. I hope you can see this. But what we've had is we have an example of what a clean hand certificate looks like. And it is not showing up for me, unfortunately. So, but when you download it, you will be able to see what an example of the correct clean hand certificate looks like. You have the IRS form. You can download the 2009 or 2018 template here. You can upload the recent photograph of the store. Now, all of these are required. If you do not have a basic business license that is not searchable in Scout, you can give us the alternative licensure information. Sometimes this is applicable for barbers and hair salons or hairstylists, but we are looking to be able to search for things in Scout. If you are not able to provide that information that is in Scout, then you can upload this alternative licensure documentation. And then here's where the attestations are. And there are 10 attestations. And you read the attestation and then you type your name if it is true. So if you are awarded one in 2022, you are not eligible this year. We can try again next year. And then whoever is filling out this grant application is the person who types their name. And there's additional instructions here that show that instruction. And then you go through, you sign your name, whoever's filling it out, you hit next, and there would be a submit button. Now it won't let me submit because I am missing some information, but make sure that you hit submit, and make sure you hit submit by the early eligibility deadlines, because then we can give you an early eligibility determination. And that is Zoom grants. And so as you can see, if you have all the documents that you need, it'll take you maybe 10 minutes to fill out this whole application. And we've been talking to you for 34 minutes. So it'll be way easier than listening to this presentation. So we hope that you apply, and that you apply early. And that brings us to the end. Are there any questions that we can answer? All right. As a reminder, just make sure that you email DC Main Streets at dc.gov, and Courtney put the link for the grant in the chat, so you should be able to access the request for applications there. Well, everybody, thank you for joining. We appreciate it. Courtney, thank you for sharing and presenting duties. And please let us know if you have any questions, because we are here to make this one of the easiest grants to apply for in district government. All right, I'm going to end the recording, and everybody, you take care.
Good day.